Me today. Here we go.
See,
Born in trouble.
I don't like your attitude. I don't like the way you're starting this.
The 31st episode of the year. 31. That is a 3 and a 1, I believe. I can never really be sure until I actually start to do the dials. But anyway, welcome to Born in Trouble, 31st episode. I'm your host, John X. I have with me the illustrious Reggie Wood from parts unknown, Ohio. Are there any bears in Ohio, Reg?
You said, are there any bears?
Any bears in Ohio? You ever see any when you go riding? Never been chased by a bear?
On your trail runs?
On your trail runs?
Is that how you sprained your ankle, getting away from a bear? See, it sounds better if you say you were getting away from a bear.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. So I just want to, I'm just trying to, bring the Midwest into the conversation. There's the Cincinnati Bears. Isn't there the Cincinnati Bears? Isn't that the name of the
Bearcats?
Oh, Bearcats.
Bearcats.
Oh, well, Bearcat, it's the same thing. Butt naked cats. We all know what people in Ohio are freaks. Reggie Woods.
What's good, fellas? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Yes, sir. Same to you, brother.
And keeping with the Midwestern flavor, we're going to go with my man, the one, the only, Mr. Grant Lancaster, owner of City Wings.
2896 West Grand Boulevard, Detroit, Michigan. Come down and get you some. City Wings.
Wings, that is. Mr. Grant Lancaster.
What up, though?
What up, though? And last but not least, because he refuses to be last, at least, he's just trouble all day long. From the time he wakes up in the morning until the time he puts his head down on his pillow. That's right. You may know him as that motherfucker, but I know him as Mr. Robert Press.
You sound like you dated one of my, you dated one of my exes. That motherfucker.
That motherfucker. Or been talking to one. Yes.
See, now here's the thing. Like, I'm trouble from all day long, every day. But how many of y'all was like half asleep when the ball dropped the other night?
That was rough.
That was rough.
I needed a bear.
Yeah.
To be in the living room with me.
I woke up like I said I was going to take a nap from 2 to 4. I think my nap was actually from like 4 to 11:30. And
it's not a nap, Holmes. That's a full night's sleep.
Right.
You define nap the way you want to define nap. This is what I mean. You're trouble, Rob. You're trouble. I can't have anything. So that was my nap. And I woke up, I jumped in the shower, and I was just able to get dressed just in time for the new year. Happy New Year.
All right. You jumped up, got in the shower and everything. That's nice.
Yeah. I was able to watch it.
You and I get dressed up.
Yeah, we got dressed up in nightgown and night materials anyway. Anyway, Rob. Trouble. I don't like your leading questions because I know it's leading someplace bad.
It's not leading anywhere bad. I'm just, just seeing how old the group really is.
Well, I was at a party, so
see, Grant, as a redeeming factor, he was at a party. God damn it, at least one of us was out doing something real.
Where was the party at, Grit?
I was at this spot called the Regency. My one of my cousins that works at City Wings, his 30th birthday. He's a New Year's Eve baby. So
okay.
Yeah, so it was birthday / New Year's Eve party. It was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't too young for me to be there. So I stuck around.
Nice.
So what'd you do, Mr. Reggie Reg? What were you up to, bro?
Man, me and the missus just sitting on opposite ends on the little sectional out here and just fighting the good fight to see the ball drop. Checked out that raggedy ass set that LL did.
Yeah, I missed that. Yeah,
That's
was
the
he
I,
on?
word.
I got to say, the outfit that he had on, that voire fucking sweatsuit that he was wearing, or whatever the hell it was, not
What's-
gangster.
What's up with this wide leg shit he wearing the last 6 months, bro? Like,
Oh,
is that some mid
why is there?
50s?
Why is his fucking our purpose in life right now to look like a deferred Cookie Monster and shit? Like, why the fuck you dressing up like Cookie Monster?
Nigga said a deferred Cookie Monster.
Bro my man went from having the one leg up shit to now this shit with all this break down here at the bottom, this excess material around his ankle and shit. I'm like, that shit just look weird to me.
Man,
Yeah,
these-
I wasn't feeling that.
Yeah, I gotta
Well,
see it.
you know, the old cats, you know, we just trying to stay relevant, or at least some of us are. You know, some of us. And when I say some of us, I do mean a group of men, not including myself. But you know, they out there trying to, you know, you gotta be funky, man. What would James Brown be wearing right now for New Year's Eve? He'd be wearing a one-piece leotard, right?
Probably.
So, you know, players gotta play.
Yeah, I just don't his outfit did not scream player to me. Just did not.
Is this him in the
Well, Rob, that's good.
disco ball, the silver disco ball joint?
I don't know.
It's like an earth tone
It
type.
was like a tannish. Let's see, LL Cool J New Year's outfit. Apparently, I'm not the only one who thought there was something wrong with it.
But he was rocking out on some of the Force tour they won. I often saw him rocking little ensembles like that.
Yeah.
You know what? What's interesting is that I was talking just this week. I had a conversation on the Wisdom app with somebody, and I was talking about how I had given up the barbershop years ago because of the fact that because somebody came on and was talking about. Did we talk about this last week, or maybe we didn't? Somebody came on the internet and they were talking about how there's all this misogyny up in the barbershop with men just talking shit and everything. And I was like, this just showed me how far men have actually fallen off because honestly, one of the reasons why I stopped going to the barbershop years ago, decades ago, is because I got tired of hearing grown ass men talk like a bunch of women as they got their hair cut. I just thought there was no more effeminate place at certain times to be other than the barbershop getting your hair cut. And to see that flipped by a gay man, a gay black man that was actually making the charge that there was all this testosterone that was up in barbershops. How do y'all feel? Like y'all still go get your hair cut? Right? Y'all still go. Do you feel like that? Like, there's a lot of misogyny going on in the barbershop? And the reason why I say this because, like, we're sitting up here, we're making jokes about LL's outfit, and I don't see anything wrong with that. That's just jokes. But in the barbershop, it seems like there's a whole bunch of like nonsense being talked about. I mean, is it just me? Am I wrong?
My spot's a little bit different because my guy works by appointment only, and so when you go there, there's never more than one other person there. Mm-hmm. So it's just, you know, it's kind of intimate, and like he cuts in New York during the week, then he comes down to Philly just to handle his Philly clients, and so it's a different kind of conversation that goes on in that barbershop. But when I used to go to the shop, I mean, you know, there's guys in there talking about pussy, talking about their conquests. You know, the shop that he had before this, he had like 10 dudes cutting hair in there. So you heard all manner of conversation. And there was some mild misogyny in there. I would say that he tried to keep it. He wanted the place to be respectable. He wanted women to be able to come in there. So he kept the lid on some of that. But, you know, any room where you just get guys,
right?
You know, only guys, it's going to be at least some mild-mannered misogyny and probably more.
I.e. a typical firehouse.
I.e. a typical firehouse, yeah.
Yeah.
And you work in a firehouse. What's that like? Would you find it more misogynistic there, or?
I don't know about more. So here's what I've learned is the way that society is everywhere. right? You can't escape it. So if I say titty in the engine house, somebody could be offended, even with all dudes there. You know what I mean? It's, you know, somebody who wasn't breastfed may get triggered because I said titty, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, you never know. You know what I mean? So even in these situations, you have to be careful. So from my vantage point, I'm not going to call it misogyny. I'm going to say that the male dominated kind of conversation, the male angle conversation is kind of curbed, because you never know in this era with everybody's sensibilities, you never know what you're going to say that's going to trigger somebody to set something off.
I mean,
or call HR.
I really can't speak about it in like any type of depth and everything. So that's why I'm asking the questions, because like, honestly, you know, I do have the clippers. I shave my own hair. I've been shaving my own hair. The only time I do go to a barbershop or I go to a barber, it's like I have a guy that I actually call that I try to set up an appointment with. And that's only if I'm going to do a business meeting, I'm going to get a check. When I actually go and I do that once or twice or 3 times a year, whatever that is, to be presentable, because I do work at home. Reg, do
Like
you
at the
find
place where you get your chest waxed, what's that conversation like?
this motherfucker? Reg, I was trying to throw it to you, bro. You see what I gotta deal with, man? I got chest waxed. My chest waxed, bro. Really, bro?
Hey, I've talked
Yeah.
about it numerous times, how starting in maybe 2005-ish to 07 or something, I started moving myself farther and farther and farther away from the barbershop conversations. Just didn't get too much constructive out of a lot of it. And then especially after getting married in 01. But it's a difference in, like, so speaking of misogyny, I'm looking on Instagram the other day and they had it was the video of CD Lamb on draft night when he was sitting there with his girlfriend at the time or whatever, and she went to reach for his phone, as he had 2 phones that he was holding.
Mm-hmm.
And she grabbed one and then he grabbed it from her immediately, and kind of like to put her in her place. But the caption of the clip was like, this was the night that CD Lamb entered the Hall of Fame because of how he treated this woman. Now, to me, that's kind of like misogyny. But us sitting around talking conquests and the mentioning of titties or something, that's not necessarily misogyny to me.
What would that be? You know, because I mean, misogyny. I think you're right about that. Misogyny is like, it's a very hard, it's a very deep line to draw from just that conversation. How do we let people just be themselves? Because, like, you know what, when women close the doors and they're having their conversations, they're saying some of the most rude stuff whatsoever. And it's like as if we're not allowed to actually have these conversations amongst ourselves. Like, I had to check somebody today. I called you early in the day, Rob. Maybe this is why you're so belligerent with me, because I actually spoke to him earlier today. And I was like, look, I got to stay out of trouble today because I don't want to get on. Somebody already started beefing with me online, and I'm going to get on the internet and start saying all these different things and wear myself out. And then when it comes to be like 9 o'clock, 9:30 tonight, I'm not going to have anything to say, because I will work myself up. And it's like, it's not even relevant and everything. I made a joke. She didn't get the joke. She tried to be serious about it. I'm like, you know, I answered your question. Now go away. You know what I'm saying? That's like nothing. But people actually go out and they search for these like interactions and these fights with people every day. And I'm not really here for it. I'm an old man. I don't want to I'm not going to sit up there and argue with some 20-something-year-old girl over the internet. I think there's better ways to actually solve our problem. If you really want to be mad and everything, I don't know. See, I was about to say something misogynistic right there.
So if the definition of misogyny is dislike of contempt for or ingrained prejudice against women,
Mm-hmm.
can conversation really be misogynistic?
Well, I mean, you know, when you talking to, you know, there's some dudes who throw it out there who've had that conversation. You can have that conversation in a respectful way, like, hey, you know, met up with this chick last night, you know, we hitting off, bang, 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 you know, and you reveal the details without revealing the details. But then you also know the same dudes had that same conversation, and the whole time she's a bitch and everything she's doing is, you know, sort of disgusting. Like, you want her to do the disgusting thing, but then the moment she does it, now you labeling her something else. You calling her out her name because she did what you
You don't
wanted her
like
to
it.
do.
Right.
So I mean, that's there, that conversation, depending on how it's being had, the way that, you know, the acts are being labeled, the way that the person's being labeled. You know,
Right.
yeah. I mean, you've had some conversation with a dude, and he's never said the word woman, lady, girl once,
Mhm.
but you know, he's called it every other name in the book: bitch, Caesar, this skank, whatever. So I mean, that's how that conversation sort of slides from one realm to the next, depending on how, you know, it's being framed, how she's being framed in the conversation.
Yeah, I definitely got to look at the spirit of the brother that's saying this stuff, and like Rob just said, yeah, because we still have to talk about what we got to talk about. But if you just doing this with true disdain in your for her in your storytelling,
B ho
then
skis.
Yeah.
Slut.
I'm trying to exit out of the conversation myself at a certain point.
Well, I mean,
But
there's certain. Go ahead, Grant.
isn't the opposite what we hear for men coming from women though?
Oh, most definitely. But I mean, let's be honest. They have something to say about everything. Once you get to a certain point,
True.
there are certain women out there that no matter what you say, they don't have anything good to say about a man. They will never ever have anything good to say about a man. And you can say that to them, like I have, and get in trouble and everything, because but the truth of the matter is, though, there's certain women out there that just they don't have any types of they've learned either from experience or from their parents. They've learned that men ain't nothing. They're not any good. They're useless. They're only good for one thing, which is money. Men are dehumanized. And I think that's part of the problem with like relationships, and like we make jokes about it, but when you're trying to get a relationship with a woman, and a woman automatically dehumanizes you before you even walk into the door and everything, you have women that see men as nothing but wallets.
Right.
You're not. How are we having a human one-on-one connection? How are we supposed to have this love and this affection for you while all we're doing is like spending money?
Here's the thing, though. When you meet those women, you're supposed to turn and run. And too many times we throw our wallet in the air, we throw cash around, and then we get mad that they see us as nothing more than a wallet. Like, yo, you flashed your shit to get her attention, and you got exactly the kind of attention you were looking for, and now you mad about it. Like, there are ways to approach women, or you know, when I meet women and they start talking that bullshit, let's keep it moving.
So
I'm not trying to. Yeah.
At the same time, when and just playing devil's advocate, when you know men use their wallet, women use that meat wallet.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm saying, so it's so in my estimation, I think the problem with relationships is that we don't really understand how to make choices, which is where I think Rob was kind of headed. We make bad choices, man.
Yeah.
We don't, and I'm saying this as a person who has made bad choices. We make bad choices when it comes to relationships. We make great choices on some things, but once that heart gets involved and feelings start getting involved, all of a sudden we're all fucking, Quasimodo making decisions.
Oh yeah, and we get that look. She got that look, and all
Right.
of a sudden we start like, come on, man, that you got to dig deeper than that. But a
Yeah.
lot of people get stuck at that level.
Yeah, but her ass is fat though, and I like that. Or
We've all been in that relationship where like you don't belong there, but you're like, damn, she's fine now.
yeah,
Yes,
Like,
it's
damn,
good.
she's fine.
But girl, he drive a BMW.
The pool is
So
good.
it all boils down to the choices that we make.
Yeah, and
See,
you
the
said
problem-
we got to learn to make better choices. Like there's a psychologist that I see on Instagram a lot, and she talks about it a lot. That she talks about the fact that men with means get cheated on a lot more than guys who don't, because women who are attracted by the economic factors are less emotionally attached normally, And once they got you to say yes, well, they got you, so now they got to get the next. They got, if you're economically inclined, you got to keep building. So you got him. Well, that's what his limit is. So now I got to find the next guy to take me to the next level.
There's always more.
There's always more. And women who are more about emotional attachment, they're not going to take a man like an ultra successful man. Ultra successful men work a lot. They spend a lot of their time and a lot of their resources on building that chip stack. Well, women who are more inclined for an emotional attachment aren't going to put up with that because your ass isn't around. They'd rather have a dude who's making less, who's going to be there and be able to invest the time in their emotions. But if a woman's like, cool, do you, and we'll go shopping on the weekend, there's a good chance she's going to cheat on your ass at some point.
You see, it's like you just described like the whole gamut of women, whether they like to admit it or whether or not they would admit it or not. And just basically a couple of sentences in a paragraph right there. You ran the gamut from the woman that will accept, or maybe it was you, Grant, that started with the woman that's looking for nothing but money, who's the wallet, satisfaction, who's looking for that. And then you have the emotional one that wants you around all the time. And pretty much you can draw a line and you can show the difference between, it runs the entire community, from the people that are looking for, this is the one that's got the baby daddies, the ones that have the sugar daddies, those are the first ones. The ones that have the baby daddies are the second ones. And basically somewhere along the line, they all intersect and they connect and they become the same thing. And I thought about something this week. The reason why I started like this is because relationships have become the biggest thing in the Black community now. It's no longer equality. It's no longer equity. It's no longer anything that's really relevant. What is the most important topic of conversation in the Black community is relationships. Do you have one? What is it like? Who is it with? And can we talk about you? Can we talk about your relationship? That is the most important thing, not finance, not whether or not we shall overcome. No, we're not overcoming them no more. That's like, that shit is dead. Love and Hip Hop Atlanta is on. So this is what the community is right now. So me coming to this revelation in this presentation, it kind of it's got me disgusted to a certain extent.
You know what I think you need to do, homie?
What's that, bro?
I think you need to take a social media detox.
You think so?
Yeah, man.
Because I think you may be right. Because I mean, honestly speaking, I was thinking I'm looking at I didn't participate as much, but maybe I did. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, Twitter and all these different places and everything. Like Black people used to be better at the internet than what they are now. And when I say better at the internet, this is what I mean. When somebody would say something that was absolutely asinine and stupid, we didn't really participate. We used to just kind of some way sideways eye that person, in a digital way, and then just keep it moving. Now we're engaging in friggin' everything. People have been engaged. I've been watching the whole thing about Cardi B. You know, Cardi B had an album that was just about to drop. She was supposedly broke up with her husband, and then comes out New Year's Eve after the album is dropped, and she's been sleeping with her husband the entire time. Whoa, big surprise. Because this is the relevance. This is what's stealing all of these people's attention. I don't know, Rob. Maybe I should take a complete and total break from and detox from social media for a while, but I'm afraid of what it would look like when I came back.
Here's the thing, man. Like, you know, to borrow a quote from Brother Lancaster, you know, the 85s are gonna be the 85s.
Yes, sir.
They got no choice in the matter. The 85s got more options for entertainment now. It's more readily available. And you just got to kind of, you know, you can't let the opinions, the thoughts, opinions, and comments of the 85, you can't give them more weight than they deserve. Like, yeah, a lot of the 85s are talking about that shit, but those are not serious people anyway. Those aren't the people you wanted to be in conversation with anyway.
But the squeaky
Like-
wheel gets the grease, though. So this is where
The-
all of
the
our
squeaky wheel-
resources
the
are.
squeaky wheel gets the grease, but like, what real grease is it getting? Like, you don't have to give it any grease is the thing.
Well, let me tell you where the grease is. Okay, I have to make a correction of myself. I went and I'm sorry, I beat my producer to a pulp and everything because of the fact that he gave me erroneous information. That producer's name is Johan, and that's actually my that's actually my evil twin.
Really?
Because Johan, my evil twin, is also
not
my
Fred?
producer. He actually comes up. No, we're not talking about him, Rob, because now you're giving away my aliases, bro. So I had said that there were only two.
You
bills
realize
that
you
were,
just told on yourself, right? You just let that go, and then it is nothing happens. But by you saying now you're talking about my aliases, you've given people a clue.
Well, that's because I have more than one. So it's like perhaps I use that one to throw them off of the stink, and then I'll just be gone and swimming underwater in my submarine, which I purchased years ago. But anyway, so now they have to look for a submarine too. That's the way it works. See the way that works. You got to set up plans along plans and possibilities. It's a spider web. It's a spindle like the multiverse, my getaway plan. So generally, see, you threw me off. But what I was talking about, what was I talking about before you threw me?
Johan came in and gave you some erroneous information.
Yes, Johan gave me some erroneous information. It wasn't 2 congressional bills. It was actually 27 bills that came into law last year. So I apologize for spreading false information. It wasn't 2, it was 27 bills that were passed this year for the people. Because I was railing about how people are distracted by all this bullshit. All these things that are going on the internet, Cardi B and, Kanye and all this.
What was that?
Who
Over and
had,
under?
who had 30 minutes in the pool?
Damn, I forgot to put my money
I
down.
definitely went on the under. We blew through my time long ago.
I'm sitting here with my chit still in my hand.
Dang, we lost him for real.
Free.
We lost him for real.
I will say though that social media detox is serious, man, because you just can't make yourself available to everything, and you want to know, you want to stay hip and in the loop and whatnot, but it's so much stuff. It was a skit yesterday. I just want and like we can't even laugh at stuff anymore without somebody ruining the joke. And it was a brother that had a little skit, one of the more creative ones I've seen. And he was in the elevator with his black woman, just him and his woman. And then a white girl comes to jump in the elevator with them. And the black lady looks, you know, she frowns at her for coming into the elevator with them. And then she turns around and she has a very round ass.
Yeah,
And
didn't he sort of make the gesture to open the door to
I think so.
keep
I
the
think
door
so.
open? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. That's an important detail.
Start the evil in the woman. Get the
Right.
evil cooking in the woman.
And then he looks down and sees the ass. The black woman sees the ass, and the brother is drinking his water and spilling his water over his face. And it was just a harmless joke. But you get that. I go down in the comments section, and there's some brother that's got some detailed opinion of how well, it's normal for the black man to be, or the so-called black man to be attracted to all white women. It's in our DNA because white women, they were 78% of the plantation owners back in the day. So the black man is like predisposed. Brother, where the fuck you get these stats from, my man?
Just enjoy it, man. It was a joke. Don't look down.
Joke.
If you don't want to get smacked in the face, don't look down. That's the joke.
It was a joke.
But that's not today though. That's the equivalent of saying titty. Right? If the word titty can offend, I mean, and everybody got titties. Titties are some of the most beautiful things on the planet. They produce life, or they feed life anyway. You know, I mean, it's a part of nature. X is giving him the thumbs up because he's a titty man. So
if ever there was a titty man on the planet, John.
Yes, sir. So the offense that people take at so many things, and you know what? I don't know if I know that the negative aspect of everything is what kind of takes off in the social media world, right? So if you have a negative comment, that's much more likely to go viral or whatever the case may be than a positive comment. So in my mind, that's a lot of the reason why people put as many negative comments up as they do about every single fucking thing.
Yeah.
Right? Because I want to be as hot as I can get, right? I want my 15, it probably ain't even 15 minutes of fame anymore. Now it's probably more like 15 seconds. But I want my 15 seconds of fame.
That's what helped me get off of Twitter. Because I would sit around at that time, 6-7 years ago, following Jamel Hill or maybe Stephen A. Smith or Michael Smith. I sit around with my best shit, which was something positive, because I don't really do negative online. But I say something to whatever the little joke or little topic of the day that they got going. I didn't put my best out there. They never acknowledged it. But then the person that said some simple negative shit about Stephen, some snarky shit, or hit Stephen A on his hairline or some shit, some lame low-hanging fruit shit. And even Talib Kweli, he was another one. You say the negative shit to him, he go all day with somebody over that shit, and you just like, man, that track 6 on album such and such. So I got away from that. That Detox is for real.
Yeah, I gave it up, and I think I mentioned it to y'all. I gave it up based off of a restaurant downtown Detroit.
Oh yeah, you did mention
there was an incident.
Oh yeah.
And the restaurant was shut down in like 2 weeks based off of some social media shit. So I got off of there. I mean, I still have my Facebook page. I got an Instagram, and I think I have a Twitter. I know City Wings has all 3 of those, but I don't fool with them at all. So
that's smart. Stay away from that
man.
stuff. A couple of years ago, my daughter, when she was in high school, went to this program, this leadership retreat. And the first thing that they did when they got on the bus is take their phones away from them.
Mm-hmm.
And so for the week that they were there, they didn't see their phones. And every single kid on the trip reported that they felt better not having the phone and not having the influence of it. Like the first day or so, they were sweating it because they felt like they were missing everything. But after that, their brains sort of settled down and they were like, oh, this isn't bad. Like this is actually a decent way to go. But try taking it out of their hands, when they're out and about in civilization. You can't do it. But like it's a worthwhile project. And the other thing is, if you're going to be on there, then you just got to remember that you can't lend too much weight to what these people are saying. And
Right.
it's sort of, you know, Reg, you were sort of talking about on your podcast, like, you don't know who these people are and what background they have to be adding their commentary. Like, this person could be a lunatic. So you
A
can't put too much
lunatic.
weight in what they're saying. You know, they might not know a goddamn thing. They might not know their ass from a hole in the ground. But you getting
That's what-
fired up because they said something snarky to you online. Like, yo, let that shit just keep going. John, would you like to say something? No, you would not.
You need to write in the chat, Holmes.
You get X a whiteboard for next week's show. You write his comments down, put them in front of the camera.
Well,
Man.
that was like the brother I mean, he put a really long, detailed comment on there. I said the joke was just about the uncomfortable situation for the brother. It was very simple. But you go in here talking about how black
Yeah, that's
men are attracted to white women because they were the primary plantation owners back in the 1800s. Brother, what fucking fact book, where you get this bullshit from that women, like, it's not even accurate whatsoever.
But that's part of the thing though. Like, everybody wants to be intelligent. Everybody wants to have, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't know if 80% of slave owners were women or not. I mean, I'm sure, you know, the men that own slaves, some of them had wives which made them slave owners. Some single women, I'm sure, had slaves. So I mean,
Actually,
I guess it could be true.
Actually, they were traditionally serial killers. The most violent slave owners were female slave owners. But go ahead. You know,
Yeah,
so that kind of, just to kind of poke a hole in that whole theory of that brother on Twitter that he thinks he's looking at them because they sexy, like they were coming in there and they were wiggling their asses at the slaves and everything to try to get them all horny for something that they couldn't get. It was more likely that the slave would be cowering when that white woman came in there because they were the most violent out of the slave owners, apparently.
But
go ahead.
But if you think back though, the good Reverend Doctor in Jungle Fever told the story about how the white woman was too pure for even the white man to touch, and somehow she had to get that nut somehow. So in the middle of the night, she would sneak into the slave quarters, find her a mandingo, and get it off. And I don't doubt that happened on some occasions, probably on several occasions. But I mean, so I guess what I'm saying is there could be some truth to that on some level for some people. But there's some truth. I imagine that there's some truth to most things on some level for some people.
It's a no-win situation. I don't even understand why. I think what I'm saying is, though, I'm taking social media a little bit differently now. I don't think I really put it out there the way that I should have put it out there to explain what is really aggressing me about it. It's the utter willingness to just basically swim in this stew of bullshit all day long. These people are seriously upset about Taraji Henson having $12 million and a mansion. Like, yo, listen, like, yeah, sis has been aggrieved and she has been, you know, she's definitely been underpaid on a lot of her movie roles. But like someone said, they have this meme with her and Ellen Pompeo. Ellen Pompeo was in a series for 20 years where they get like $500,000 an episode. You know, there's like we just completely and totally forget about all of the important aspects. And the reason why that bothers me, honestly, is because if we will skip over it just because of the fact that we just want to feel that Taraji is a better actress than Ellen Pompeo, then that's fine. But when we're skipping over details that actually matter and that are relevant because of the fact that it's a based upon an argument that's race-based, that's a flaw. That's a
Yeah, but it's
weakness.
we're a headline society. We're not a society that reads the story anymore. We read the headline and possibly the first paragraph of under the headline, and
I
then
don't
we
even
on to
think
the
we
next.
I don't even think we read that subtitle anymore. I don't even think we get to that shit.
I
We,
guess
we may not, but
I guess I'm like a teacher
that's
that's reading it, that's going over the homework and reading the assignment, and not just looking at the answers, but looking at the equation of how they got to it. And I'm just like, ugh, like, we're so
yeah.
fucked.
Hey, John.
But you talking about showing the work, right? Remember in math class, you show the work, you could get partial credit based on, you may not have the answer right, but if you had the process correct, you could get some portion of the credit for it.
Ain't none of that happening right now.
Ain't none of that happening today. It's over.
Ain't none of that happening. So I think that's, go ahead.
I took YouTube off my phone like 3.5 months ago. I got so tired of seeing that brother Dr. Boyce and some of his shit and I'm like, man, this dude got a PhD, and a 4-year degree, Ohio State and Kentucky. And he would get on there and say such backward shit, and no one would call him on none of that shit. And I just was like, I got tired of making the comments. Like, I'm not on here trying to say I'm smarter than you and whatnot, but he was like, how do you put out here that you can take my financial literacy classes and my investment classes, but then you want to only sit around and talk about Black-owned companies and Black money. Well, motherfucker, you're not just gonna have you ain't just gonna have no fun where you're not investing in the industry leaders across all of these different industries. So this shit where we approach everything through Blackness is just it's killing it for me.
It's a losing situation before you even step into it. And as I say this and everything, someone would be listening to this comment and they'd say, "Oh, that nigga's lost," and everything because they're not really looking at the entire pie and the entire puzzle. Sometimes you got to bring along certain things in order to get to a certain point. You have to be strategic in this world and everything in order to get through things. And what a lot of people are calling for is just basic out and out failure. Just go out there and just do it this way and fall on your face because there ain't no support here. You know what I'm saying? We're not talking about a group of people that, like, if you go out there and say, "I'm all Black and everything, I'm all Black," and then you fail, and they're going to say, "Oh, man, brother, I'm going to come and pick you up and help you go to the next line." What they're going to say is, as you're like, say,
well, it was nice while it lasted.
Yeah, we lost them again. But to X's point though, I think that a lot of what we talking about when you start talking about just kind of supporting Black businesses and Black money and all this kind of thing, ideally it's beautiful, but you don't have the buy-in from enough people, right? Because there's clearly money in our community, right? And I mean, not on it. It's not permeating our entire community, but there's some real bread. I mean, we spend the most money in this country, and per capita, we spend the most money in this country, and we spend a lot of fucking money. So we have the means to do certain things. But if all you want to do is support Louis Vuitton, if all you want to do is support Gucci or Polo or whatever, you support. Now, when it comes to, I understand if you're going to buy a car, you're going to probably buy a car that's made by white folks, right? If, it's certain things that you can't get away from.
Right.
But the point of it to me is to kind of be within but without as much as possible. But the problem with that is no one wants to be without at any time. Delayed gratification is not a thing. No one is going to delay their gratification for any reason in this society, because we're in this microwave society. Everybody has to have everything right now.
You're right about that.
One of the things that, like, when I got off of YouTube, was like the Dr. Boyce cat was talking about that. It was the was it BNN or something, Black News Network or something?
It folded. Yeah, it folded. Yeah, back in November.
Mm-hmm.
So like
or November last year.
The Indian guy, the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, was a significant investor in that. And Dr. Boyce was like, because he was the investor, he was controlling the narratives and the story, the news, how they would talk. So he was like, that eliminates them from being considered Black owned or anything, and you had to be skeptical of whatever. But I'm like, so now you mean to tell me that fledgling Black companies, you're not allowed to take now you can't take investment money from anybody when it's not coming from you ain't gonna get no Black people to put $33 million up for a news channel in all likelihood.
Yeah, like there's a handful of Black people who could do that.
Exactly.
And that number's so small, and you know who they are. You can't get to those people.
Exactly. So I was just like, when you talk this Black only stuff, you putting people in, you eliminating, the moves that a lot of people can make just based on that. And I'm like, you don't know that I think his name is Sean or something. I'm like, he's not all that involved with his Jaguars team that we've been watching for the past 8 years or however long he's been in ownership. So I don't have nothing to go on to say that he's being really heavy-handed on how they're covering the news. But you just want to sit in here and grab at the obvious thing. Oh, they said they Black owned, but the money that is not coming from a Black person, we need to eliminate them. And I'm just like, it's not that simple of a process for me.
Yeah, and also, I mean, all these people who are putting on the news, it's not like we went and grabbed a bunch of people from Wakanda, and now we got to put them on the news here and shit. These are all a bunch of Black people who grew up in America. Like, they're telling the stories that they've, the news is what they've known it to be their whole life. They're just trying to find news that tilts with a Black spin, but you ain't gonna get no revelations like that. There's not, yeah, you'll get some more positive stories. You'll get, maybe you'll see some more white perp walks and less black perp walks. You'll get some stuff like that that's cool, but for the most part, the news is going to be the news.
Exactly.
So, if you're in a Black city, there's a very good chance a lot of the news with Black people in it is going to be kind of negative, because you have a large Black underclass in those cities, a lot of Black poverty in those cities, and those people act out.
I gotta tell you, first of all, thanks a lot, because if I didn't disappear at least once a show, it wouldn't be official. Second,
we just got to remember to get the official pool going next time.
Okay. I gotta get my chit turned in.
Okay. But the second thing is that, like you said, though, I'm wholly disinterested in seeing which race is doing what to whom. Which these people are. I was looking, and that was another thing that had dragged me into this morass today. There was an interview with these Africans talking about rape, and they're trying to push this narrative like these people live by rape. And I remember growing up in the 80s when there was still apartheid South Africa. Rape was the one thing that I knew about South Africa besides apartheid, is that something like 50% of the women who had grown up in South Africa, white women, had been raped. And even Charlize Theron, she refused to talk about it, but they've so it's like rape is something that's done by everybody. Okay. Murder is something that's done by everybody. Theft is something that's done by everybody. I'm so tired of these messengers trying to get on television and try to convince me that one group is more predisposed to doing X or Y than the other. It's not, it's like this is how they continue. And I just get the feeling every time I see something like that put out there and posted and pushed in that manner, I can't help but thinking whoever is pushing that narrative, whether it be all the way down to the platform, the people that come up with the concepts and all that other stuff, I can't help but thinking that these people are the actual cretins and deplorable people that we live amongst us that want everyone to be asleep at the wheel so that way they can be raped, murdered, or robbed or killed by whoever it is that looks like, whether they be black, white, Indian, Hispanic, or whatever. You know, I just can't get behind these narratives. It's obvious. It should be obvious to everyone that we all grow up, like Rob said, hey, we all went to the same schools. We go to the same places of business for a long time. We've been educated in the same way. Percentage of the fucked up people is pretty much the same, except for based upon, like, you know, Oliver Twist and shit like that. If you don't have money, if you don't have food, you're predisposed to rob because, damn it, you're hungry. It's basic understanding of human nature. They knew it in the 1600s when they were writing, when Victor Hugo wrote Les Mis.
Les Mis.
You know, these things haven't changed.
But in modern society, we've made those things character flaws. We have an economic system that is set up. A certain amount of people have to fail in the economic system. The Walton family can't make billions of dollars a year unless they're underpaying a shit ton of people. It's built in to the system that some people have to fail. But instead of saying that's a product of the system, we have to find a way to keep those people afloat, we make it seem like it's a character flaw and there's something wrong with those people, that they're not earning more, that they're not doing better. But you send them to shitty schools. You don't feed them. You send them to shitty schools. You know, you preach a message of division to them for 30 years, and then you tell them it's their fucking fault that their life's fucked up. That's a really shitty deal right there. And that's what we do.
That's the mindfuck of the world.
Yeah.
It's really psychotic when you think about it. It's really psychotic and despotic. And I just don't understand how people don't understand that the people that you admire are the ones that are oftentimes the worst of the worst. They're like really the worst people. They're like disgusting. So I don't know. I'm at a loss for a lot of different things, for a lot of answers, and you know, I've got nothing but time on my hands and trouble and everything for, you know, at least the next couple of weeks until
you might want to take a little internet detox for a little bit.
But it's hard because you know what? The thing is, I have to be on the internet in order to do the things that I need to do. You know,
yeah,
and it's like, and I'm not on it as much as you can go.
You can go to your MLS sites and all that shit without detouring to Instagram. You can go and do what you got to do without reading page 6 of the New York Post.
Bro, I'm really not, you'd be surprised how little I actually am on the internet. It's just the things that actually catch me. They catch me good. You know, they get me good.
And it's
like
designed
today,
to
for
do that.
example, today, for
y'all
example,
said something on here last week. Maybe you, John. And the next morning when I got on my phone, that shit was in my Instagram feed. And I'm like, man, I ain't never said this shit. They listening to Bored in Trouble now.
Yeah. Honestly speaking, like, you know what? I've always felt this for a very long time, and it's been going on for years since I've been quote unquote a super friend. I may not be greatly popular amongst the people because it's not really my desire to become greatly popular amongst the people. I never really pushed anything. I've not gone to the interviews. I've not gone the extra mile and everything. But I feel like a lot of the ideas and a lot of the things that I put out there, they've really become a part of they really do become a part of the public lexicon. A lot of the stuff that you watch, a lot of the shows, and you watch a lot of people talking and having conversations after we do our shows, and their content will mirror what we've been saying already. And the thing is, the only difference is big fish eat little fish. So it seems as if you would listen to our podcast like we were actually copycatting them, but in reality, it's like they were listening to us. And I don't really care. Honestly, I don't really care because to me, first of all, imitation is the greatest form of flattery. So I never had a problem with that whatsoever. I've had people biting my shit ever since I was a kid. Whether it be lines to talk to girls or whether it be this shit. The imitation is the greatest form of flattery. I'm not even mad at it. As long as it's driving that, it's like moving something, we're putting something positive out there in the ether. That's all I really care about. And this is why I say that, why I come in here and I do attack these things so virulently, because I feel like, some people do pick up on these points of view and they're like, you know what, that is right. Fuck these people. Let's not let them like drag us down so quickly. I want to go down fighting. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I don't want to fight with those people. I want to let them be them. I want to let them say their dumb shit over there and just.
Oh, bro, I let them
over here.
Listen, I let them say what they like. The funny interaction I had this morning. I said a joke. The person came back afterwards and said, "No, it was a female." And she was like, "No, I want to know why you feel this way." And I was like, "Yeah, well, because the joke I made, it was actually pretty funny because they were comparing Ellen Pompeo with what's her name?
Taraji, yeah.
Okay, with Taraji. And I was like, the messed up part about this is that generational wealth is not going to go to us because she's married to a black man and he's going to get all that money instead of, and I said, oh, well, wrong thread. LOL. You know what I'm saying? Because the big joke was that high quality men marrying white women, the generational wealth goes to everybody. Like, I have to explain this to these people. You have to explain the joke. And I pretty much made it out there. I said it was a joke. And then she came back and said, oh, you're just trying to start trouble. I was like, well, obviously you didn't get the part where I said it was a joke pretty much at the end of the thing. So, like, you just need to, back up and just go away. I think it's weird for you to come on to a thread where a grown man tells a joke and you're telling a grown man what to do. You're not my elder. Why are you even talking to me like that? And then it goes into all these different things. Is that the type of interaction she had with her daddy? I'm sorry if your daddy left you and he didn't talk to you and he didn't teach you how to properly engage with people. You don't have a sense of humor. I'm sorry that like the only way experiences that you have with speaking to a man is like speaking down to them. I'm sorry for that for you. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not going to let you bother me, per se. I'm still going to laugh my way through the day and through the week. That's just what I do. I have a sense of humor. She was like, are you okay? I was like, listen, your question was asked and answered. Why don't you just go away now? Because I wasn't commenting on her post. She was kind of, why don't you just go away now? And that was the end of that thing, that particular one. And it wasn't a big deal, but it set the tone for everything else that I read. No, it set the tone for everything else that I read during the course of the day because I'm reading these comments with these people and I'm like, damn, these people like really just don't know how to communicate.
No.
They really have issues communicating. And that is what bothered me, not the interaction with her. With her, it's just like, I don't know her. I wish her the best. I don't know that woman and everything. But the fact that people don't know how to interact and everything, it's kind of troublesome.
But where would you learn how to interact when everything that you see is a 10-second soundbite?
You see, and that's the fucking question. Like, honestly, that is the question, because like, if you want to be one of those people that are sitting up here on the internet, coming on here once a week and doing a show and complaining about people not having the ability to fucking interact, that's one thing. I can do that. We just did that. But how do we get people to actually get past that point so that way they can actually start communicating with each other in a more healthy way? Because we don't have the money. All they're doing is feeding us these fucked up messages that just keep us like feeding into their pockets and everything and walking into their traps. How do we change that and everything? And that's the real conversation I want to have. That's the conversation I want to have with young people that are actually like relevant. How the fuck do you do that? And the point is, they ain't even fucking there. They're not fucking there. They're not thinking about that shit.
The powers
They're not
that be
thinking
are
about
not
that.
interested in that. The powers that be
Forget
are
about
not
the powers.
interested in that.
Forget about the powers that be. What about the actual people?
You
You know
can't.
what I'm saying? The
But
actual
But
people
the actual
can
people
actually,
don't realize the actual people are like the frog in the hot water. They don't realize that the shit is cooking their ass. They're enjoying it.
Right.
You know, they're not gonna realize till it's too late that, oh shit, this water's boiling. I got the fuck out. Oops, I'm dead. Like the powers that be are gonna keep the pressure on to keep people in this, you know, entertained, let's just say in this entertained state, because they ain't putting up no resistance. As long as they got their football on Saturday and Sunday, they got their hockey games, they got their little whatever, they're entertained. They don't know, there's no problems. Yeah, they're not making as much money as they'd like, but they're entertained. You know,
Yeah.
so you
You saw
can't
The
talk to
Matrix?
them because you're not their daddy. You know, you got to
I
let
don't
them
wanna-
be
I know
who
that
they
think
are.
it's not real.
I don't want to be their
I know
daddy.
that
I
this
want
thing
them
is
to
not real.
figure it out themselves.
They know that the steak is not real. They know that it's not tender and juicy and succulent, but they're gonna eat it anyway.
And on that note, guess what? Time flies when you're having fun. When in trouble, it's been an hour already. For me, it's been a little bit less than an
I was
hour.
gonna say it's been 35 minutes for you. We got to get you a bigger stack of quarters. Pop in your internet machine.
This guy. For the record, it was not my internet. It was my laptop. It just died for no reason. It's all recorded. But fuck you, Rob. I knew you were going to be a problem as soon as you came on today.
Damn.
Wood, you got something to say about this, Wood?
That brother came in. That's Robert Cooks tonight. Robert Cooks.
Oh, Lord.
Anyway, Born in Trouble, 31st episode, first of the new calendar year. I'm going to give a big shout out to Mr. Gene Hopkins. Mr. Gene.
Yes, sir. Where you at, G-Hop?
Gene, where you at, Gene? We miss you. We're about to put your face on a milk carton next week. You don't show up, bro. We need you. We're getting all this. I'm getting all this abuse.
What abuse?
Don't you want a piece of this? Don't you want a piece of this, Gene?
Nah, you know, Gene's gone vegan now. He's not choosing violence anymore.
Well, I don't know. I always make a very good, easy target, so maybe I'll throw myself out there. But listen, from New Jersey, Mr. Brooks with the good looks and the bad jokes, Robert Brooks.
See, now, I enjoyed them. I'm not sure if you did, but
Sure you did.
When they're at your expense, you know, it's
you know what?
they hit a little
I get a lot of them
different.
at my expense, and they, you know, if they funny, they funny. Funny is funny.
Yeah.
Listen, bro. You're hot today. See, the difference between us and them is that I can laugh at this. I'm gonna listen to this again. I'm gonna have to edit it and listen to all your bad jokes and your qualms and your quirks and everything. And I'm gonna have to laugh at it and just move on and just try to get past it and everything. I'm not going to go into my cocoon. I'm not going to complain about how unfair the world is because Rob came up with all these good jokes last week and I didn't have anyone to write them for me. Sure, I'm going to have to talk to Johan again and see what we can do about getting better production. But until next week, this is what it is. So from Ohio, parts unknown, Mr. Reggie Wood.
Appreciate it. Another
What's
great
The runner
what's that
amongst
podcast?
us.
What was that podcast that you put up? What's the name of your podcast?
So I know I gotta pay me no mind behind me, but it's always personal. Was just trying to share some different, get some different, add to the definition of a black man. Just flesh it out a little bit more than just the narrow couple archetypes that you get.
So listen, if anybody's listening to this, or when you do listen to this, give a listen to that podcast from Mr. Reggie Reg. Don't do like Rob does and don't support black businesses whatsoever.
No, I appreciate Rob gave me a couple of he listened to at least 6
No, he
minutes.
didn't. No, he
Which is
didn't.
cool.
And of course,
take
from
it.
Detroit, Michigan.
I heard the whole thing.
He did not. He did not. From Detroit, Michigan. Almost any wings.
2896 West Grand Boulevard, Detroit, Michigan. Come down to get you some.
Wings, not Amish girls, Mr. Grant Lancaster. No,
That's
Rob
right.
did not support you. He didn't listen to the podcast. He's a bad guy.
I was triggered by the quarters comment. Just FYI, it brought back bad memories of doing laundry in Drew Hall.
Okay.
I was
Noted.
trying to explain to my daughter the other day, running phone cards.
Right.
Man.
Running phone cards. She's like, the concept of long distance costing money is like not anything
Right.
she can understand. And so I was telling her about running phone cards the other day, and that really was like, what? Like, yeah, it was kind of criminal, but it was low-key criminal.
Right.
They
How,
must-
how much money was made by long distance phone calls that are no longer a thing?
My first job out of college was actually working as a telephone operator for AT&T.
I remember that.
Yeah. So I had
remember
plenty of phone cards at one point. Not that I stole them, but
Hey, man.
Yeah.
It's, after that my first month at college, the first phone bill that came home was like $2 and change. So that put a stop to the weekly phone call home.
yeah, we couldn't even.
Oh, yeah.
Almost immediately. But after that, it was all, you still got to talk to the girlfriend and shit. Like, so after that, it was all running cards. I wonder how much of those charges got reversed and her mom wound up paying.
They paid Holmes.
I won't say her name because she'll still probably say "fuck you, ex" like she did back in the day. So
Well, she's still cussing my name, so she's more than likely cussing yours too. It's okay.
yeah, we won't say what we already know to be the truth about that one because that would just be unnecessary. It's unnecessary. Once you're out of the web, you can stay out of the web.
Exactly.
Born in Trouble, 31st episode. Fellas, thank you for joining me. And we will
Absolutely.
We will see you again next week. Peace.